This is Spiritual Mamas Podcast. We're a couple of mamas out here just trying to raise kids, make it through a workday, and navigate mental health, all while going through a spiritual awakening. And we thought we'd take you with us. So grab your favorite cozy drink and let's chat. Hello?
Hello.
This is Aericka.
And I'm Kim.
And this is Spiritual Mamas Podcast.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I was waiting for like the little countdown numbers to happen, and then they didn't happen. So that's why I was confused as to why.
Like, are we here?
Are we
doing
on?
this?
Are we not on? Like, I'm confused. I also have not had my coffee this morning because I made my coffee and it tastes like soap.
That's weird.
I have a Nespresso machine, like an NES espresso machine, and then it has like a little frother thing. And I went to use the frother this morning and it was dirty. I guess whoever like went to clean it out didn't clean it very well. So like cleaning it out. So I don't know if I didn't like rinse it out well enough. I don't know. So I'm a little nervous to drink it because I'm like, is it soapy water? Is it soapy milk? Like,
yeah, that doesn't sound appetizing at all.
No. So now I'm like, oh man.
You have to remake it.
I know.
Make sure you rinse it out.
I know. I'm disappointed. But how are you?
I'm doing well. Not much has changed, which is, not a bad thing. We're going to call it crocheting.
Okay. Nice.
Several years ago, I tried to learn how to crochet, and so it's something that I tend to do in the winter. And this winter, I haven't yet started it, and then over the weekend, I did go and buy some supplies. So I've started to do that again, which is comforting. It's a nice little activity for me to do. I say that it's not actually crocheting because I can only do one type of stitch. I can only make squares or blankets. And I don't do the things you're supposed to do, like make sure that the loops are all the same size or count how many you're doing. It's just something I do while I'm like watching TV or something.
I mean, that's fine. It's more than I can do. I can't do any of it. So I learned how to knit like when I was very young. My mom taught me, but I couldn't tell you how to do it now.
Yeah. Just something to pick up.
I feel like the old-timey stuff is coming back. Like at least on social media. Maybe it's what I'm seeing on social media. Like a lot of people are crocheting. A lot of people are like sewing. A lot of people are like, I don't know, like making their own costumes and stuff. And I had a patient the other day that says like, oh yeah, I was what was she doing? Cross stitch. She was cross stitching, and I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, this is interesting. And she was young. Like,
yeah, that's a big thing. I think when I started a couple years ago, when I wanted to pick up crocheting, I did it because it's something my grandma used to do, and she passed away when I was young. And I've been feeling her presence a lot more lately, so I think that's why I picked it up again now. But yeah, I don't know if it's like something that people are just getting into, if there's something about it that reminds them of others that they know, or if it's just a creative activity they want to get into.
I wonder if it started with the COVID lockdown, like people had nothing to do, so they had to do something.
Yeah, definitely.
Got tired of watching, Netflix, so interesting to know. Well, if anyone knows, if you do something old-timey, let me know. And why did you pick it up?
It is, and it can be, I think, a nostalgic thing too. So like even though I started this because I wanted to try and feel closer to my grandma, when I had started it, and it was like probably like 2019, the year before COVID, I was working at a different office. And so like when I started it at lunchtime, all of my coworkers would come in and bring their own supplies too. And so we were all kind of crocheting at lunchtime.
That's funny. I love it.
Just like a pastime, but yeah.
Very nice. Very cool. Yeah, it's something that it's still winter, unfortunately. Yeah. So we've talked about several times how neither one of us is a fan.
No. So. The storm we just had was ridiculous. The amount of ice.
So I don't do well in the heat. Mm-hmm. For a number of reasons. And we've been wanting to move, and everywhere my husband wants to move, he's like, I don't want to deal with snow. Like, I don't want to deal with, he wants it hot. And I'm like, well, I don't do well in the heat. And then yesterday I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Yes, I don't do well in the heat, but you don't have to do anything in the heat. Like, you don't have to go and shovel. You don't have to ice. You don't have to clean off your car. You don't have to be in it if you don't want to be in it.
Yeah.
In the heat. So I was like, okay, well, I can maybe get behind this now, because going out in this like cold and dealing with the snow and stuff, I think I'm feeling it a little bit more, that we need to do heat. Mm-hmm. So that was just my revelation yesterday.
Perspective shift.
Yeah. Anyways, so today we're talking about chakras, or it's actually chakras. Okay. Is how you're supposed to say it? Like a chuck. So it's really important because it's talked about a lot. We've talked about everything is energy and everything has its own vibrational frequency. And we talked about this in multiple different episodes, multiple different reasons, multiple different ways. And there's an energy body that extends beyond our physical body, which we just talked about astral projection. I don't know when that was going to come out, but you talked about that, like an astral projection. Yeah. There's that, the ethereal realm, ethereal energies. And that energy body is made up of many layers. And the collection of those layers is called your aura.
Okay.
And your aura interacts with your physical body and your energy centers, or your chakras. Chakras. Okay. So basically it's how there are energy centers in you, in your body. And there are 7 major ones. Am I saying that correctly? Yeah, there's 7 major ones, and there's multiple minor ones. I didn't do any research on the minor ones. I don't really know much about those, but they're kind of like, I know that there's the one, like the crown has multiple different like minor ones that come off of it and stuff like that.
That's interesting to know, because I think a lot of people could probably resonate with knowing that there's 7 major ones, even if they don't necessarily know exactly what they are or what they do or anything. I don't know that a lot of people would recognize that there's more than that, and that there's a whole bunch of minor ones that we don't really hear about or talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's lots of different energy centers. And if you think about it, I mean, everything around us is energy. Our whole body is energy. So you're going to have multiple different energy vortexes within you, but there's major centers. And they go all along the center of your body. And so the word chakra is derived from the Sanskrit word sukra, meaning wheel.
Okay.
And it was first seen in the Vedas, which is an ancient Hindu text that dates back to the 1500 BCE. However, through history, many cultures, including Egyptians, Hindus, Chinese, Greeks, Native Americans, Incas, and Mayans, have all referenced and worked with energy centers. They may not call them exactly that, but they're all energy centers. So
I wonder if that's what, because it sounds very similar. I have done a little bit of training in
acupressure.
Yeah, in your ear. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the word right now. Anyway, auricular acupressure and acupuncture. And what they talk about is how in Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, there are meridians in the body. And that is like where the energy centers all connect to.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, the chakras are very important because, again, in Chinese medicine, we use it in all kind of different healing methods.
Yeah.
You need to know what those are. So, yeah. Again, it's an energy vortex that exists in each of us that transport energy between the universe and us and helps us influence our body and our spiritual systems. And I apologize, I've been sick, so if I like sound nasally and I'm like half choking, that's why. So bear with me. So there are 7 major I'm going to butcher that one every time because I'm so used to saying chakras.
Yeah.
And many minor ones. They are associated with specific colors. And it's likely because each one is associated with a certain vibrational energy, and each energy has its own color that's associated with it. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I didn't realize that. I didn't know. I knew that they were associated with colors, but I didn't really know why. And like red is the lowest frequency, and violet or white is the highest frequency, and it's for spiritual connection. So each one has its own different one, which we'll get into a little bit. I'm not going to get into every one of them today. I think this is going to be maybe a two-parter because there's kind of a lot with each one. Yeah. And I wanted to be kind of specific about it. So we'll see what we get to. And each chakra is associated with a certain body part.
Okay.
And emotions and feelings. And when you have blockages or imbalances in the different chakras, you could have different illnesses and diseases, both mental and physical.
So you can tell, or you may be able to tell, if you have some sort of blockage in a chakra based on how your physical body is responding if you're having some sort of ailment.
Yeah. So it's interesting because across all these different cultures, we associate energy and energy blockages and spirituality and stuff like that with blockages or imbalances in our body and in our spirit. And in Western medicine, we don't really associate that at all. So it's interesting that, like you said, in Chinese medicine, in acupuncture and acupressure, shamanism, it's all about working on your energies and unblocking and restoring energy. So these are very, very important.
Yeah, it seems like they're very central to like lifestyle in general, not just talking about medical health or emotional health, but how you live your life too.
So let's see. So we're going to start from the bottom.
Okay.
And we've got the root chakra, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. And the bottom three, the root, sacral, and solar plexus, are considered the physical chakras.
Okay.
And the upper three are considered the spiritual chakras, and they are connected together by the heart.
Okay.
So, how you work with each one is what you're trying to do, like physically or spiritually. All right. So we're going to start with the root, and it is responsible for how safe you feel.
Okay.
And if you think about it, the root is your balance, like how you're rooted into the earth, you know, your base. And the color is red. And the location of the root chakra is the base of the spine at the perineum. So kind of in your lower regions. And it's important to know the location and the color because when you want to work on these or connect with these different chakras, you want to be able to focus on those areas so you know what you're kind of working on. So each one also is associated with an element, which I was not aware of. And this one is earth, which makes sense.
Makes sense.
And there's physical body parts that are associated with it. And it is the adrenal glands, the bladder, the kidney, the lower extremities, and the spine.
So if you're having some sort of blockage, would you experience that in one of those areas? Okay.
So each one you could have underactive or overactive energy. And underactive is closed, and then the overactive is like overworking, like way too open. And when you have this one out of alignment, you'll have restlessness, anxiety, pessimism, frustrated, quick to anger, low self-esteem, and like you don't fit in and it's hard to focus and you resist change. So because you're too rooted. And when you're aligned, you have an inner sense of security, clear thinking, and good concentration. And you're allowing for goal setting and getting. And you're calm, stable energy, allowing flexibility in transitions and stressful situations.
Okay, that makes sense. If you're unbalanced in some way and you're experiencing some of those things that you just went over, are some of them more lean towards if you are closed versus if you're too open?
I'm sorry, what was the question one more time?
If you're unbalanced in your root chakra and you just went through like a list of symptoms that you could experience, would some of those symptoms be more associated with if you're closed versus if you're open?
Right. So the open would be more like restlessness.
Okay.
That quick to anger and resistant to change, whereas like the closed, you're like pessimistic, you're low self-esteem, hard to focus, like those type of things.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's physical ailments, constipation, back pain, weight issues, eating disorders, fatigue, and anxiety. And ways that you can get blocked in the root chakra is unresolved childhood events that made you feel unsafe, and other events either perceived or real that make us feel unsafe. And usually it's like you didn't have shelter, you didn't have enough money, you didn't have enough, or like you felt that way anyways as a kid, didn't feel protected in some way, in like that like home sense.
Yeah.
So that's more what those are.
I think that's very interesting because what my mind is going to is how in other systems, if we're looking at like psychological theories, you have one that's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and the very base of that is safety and security.
Right.
And this is where that would fall. And if anything is, not met in that realm, then you're not able to progress in a healthy way. And that's just kind of the connection that I'm making with that.
Yeah, and so keep that in mind because I'm going to be interested if these follow that.
Okay.
That hierarchy.
Yeah.
We'll see. That's interesting. So we'll see with that. So like we talked about, not feeling safe can kind of make blockages in this or make them too open in that like you're searching for that security. Ways to kind of work on that is you can use certain crystals and stones and also essential oils. And so the ones that are associated with the root chakra is red tiger's eye, garnet, bloodstone, and smoky quartz. And you can use these to either help open or block or just connect to your chakras better. I got all this information from a couple of different sources, but the biggest source I got was Chakras and Self-Care by Ambi Kavanaugh. It's a book, and I've used it before. It's actually really it's really well written. So like red tiger's eye is used to overcome lethargy, which can be present with an imbalanced root chakra. It helps with motivating and a sense of joie de vivre. So that's that one. The garnet it's a grounding yet energizing stone, and it can be used in challenging situations because it gives us courage and hopefulness. And then the bloodstone is considered magical in Babylon, in ancient Babylon. And it's a powerful healer and revitalizer with grounding and protective energies. And it helps mitigate some of the symptoms of an overactive root chakra. And then hematite. This helps harmonize the mind, body, and soul by removing excess energy and separating your emotions from the emotions of others, thus grounding you in your own reality. And then the smoky quartz is a very efficient grounding and cleansing crystal. So that's that one. And then the essential oils are frankincense, sandalwood, vetiver, lavender, and patchouli. So what you would do is if you want to work on the different, and this goes for all of them, if you want to work on helping balance these, is that you could do meditations where you would focus on the color and the area that it is. The different chakras are, you can hold the different stones or have them around you. You could make a blend of essential oils and have those either on you or diffusing. And it just kind of helps you really connect to the different chakras.
I imagine that maybe in combination with all of those things, that having specific affirmations for what you're trying to achieve can also be helpful.
Yes, actually that is here. Let me look it up in the book. Let's see. Yes, affirmations. So I am centered and balanced. From this strong inner foundation, I know can handle any situation that comes my way. I trust in the process of life with all its peaks and valleys. I have the courage and strength to manifest a life of my dreams. I know I deserve all that is good. I nurture myself and life nurtures me. I am optimistic and focused. I have faith in myself and my abilities. I trust that I am divinely guided by the universe every day. I trust that I have all that I need internally to create all I desire externally. I am a channel for peace and serenity, and I choose peace and calm. So, those are some ones that you could do. Oh, I meant to say, like, at the beginning, if you wanted to, like, write stuff down, that would be a good idea. Like, to, like, you know, make if anyone wants to make notes on all this. So,
I was gonna say, I was thinking about that too, because I pulled out my paper and I'm like, I'm taking notes as you're speaking. But it seems like this episode is gonna have a lot of information, so it's probably gonna be worth it to either slow it down and like pause, or to go back and re-listen if you feel like there's something that you missed, or if when you're listening to this, you know, you might be more interested in your root chakra, but later on you want to look at your solar plexus. You can come back and look at that too.
Yep. Yeah. So the root chakra in Sanskrit is called Muladhara, which means root and existence. And it is from the translation that the foundational chakra has become more commonly known as the root or the base.
Okay.
So that's that one. So the next one is the sacral chakra. And it houses our emotions, passions, and pleasures. It's creative and sexual energy centers. And it's linked to intimacy, connection, sex and fertility, and reproduction. And its Sanskrit name is Swadhisthana. And it's made up of two Sanskrit words, meaning one's own, and adhisthana, meaning abode or dwelling place. And I thought that was like cool. Because it's kind of like, it's not your root, but it's where you are housed.
Yeah.
And it relates to the anatomical area by the sacrum. And it also means holy or sacred. So it makes sense that we have our emotions, our passions, and our pleasures are all in that centered area. And it's in that lower abdomen area. For women, it would be like the uterus area. And the element is water, and the physical body parts are the sex organs, the liver, the hormones, upper intestines, and the spleen. So when you're aligned, you would feel content, uninhibited in our relationships and creative endeavors, and we are joyful and vibrant.
I think that's something that personally I know that I'm like trying to strive for on a daily basis. So it's good to know that if I'm feeling off in some way, and I'm sure you'll get to that, but that this is the area that I could focus on for that.
Yep. So when they're out of alignment, when it's underactive or blocked, you would have low libido, issues around sex and intimacy, GYN or fertility issues, lack of creativity, relationship issues, and lack of enjoyment. So all suppression of joy and sex and pleasure. Yeah. Basically. And then overactive is the opposite. So you're over emotional, mood swings, dramatic, over dependence on people, drugs, or sex.
Okay. So one of the things that I'm noticing as you're talking about this, because this is very much an Eastern perspective. And I have always noticed that there's a very distinct difference between like Eastern and Western thought processes, approaches, whether it's medicine or otherwise. And so this is one of those things too, where I'm thinking in a Western sense, in a psychological sense, we'd be thinking of this as maybe someone who is manic, someone who is not stable and uncontrolling of their actions, emotions, the energy output.
Yeah, extremely inhibited in an overactive way, like you said. Yeah, like in a manic way, in a more detrimental way. And then like the people who they get into bad relationships all the time because they're just like very, can't be alone. Can't,
maybe that like codependence.
Yep. So the physical ailments, like we said, is low libido, addiction, pelvic pain, back pain, and urinary issues.
Okay.
And GYN issues as well. And the ways they can get blocked is they carry over from the root chakra traumas and societal norms and pressures around sex and sexuality and past relationships.
Okay.
So I feel like a lot of people could work on their sacral chakra, myself included. Yeah. So the stones that you can use are the carnelian, onyx, and orange spinel. And let's see. Where's it at? So the carnelian is a stabilizing stone and it helps restore vitality and can boost one's zest for life. And it's used in meditation a lot and it can calm emotions such as anger, jealousy, and envy. And then the orange spinel is known for opening and aligning the sacral chakra. Holding the stone or using it in meditation can help us tap into our intuition and stimulate creativity. And a lot of healing practitioners call this the fertility stone. So, onyx is a black stone that is excellent at absorbing and transforming negativity and helps release mental, physical, and spiritual blockages. And then the essential oils are rosewood, clary sage, ylang ylang, and orange. So think of like more sensual type smells, I would say. And also kind of clearing. I mean, orange is very, uplifting. So.
Yeah. With the essential oils, I'm guessing, and I don't know if this is very clear, but I'm guessing that you could, if you don't have access to those essential oils, but you have access to those herbs, you can like make a tea or something else.
Excuse me. Yep, definitely. This book actually has recipes, or so to speak, or blends that you could do with the essential oils. It gives you ideas on how to put them together. So if you wanted to pick this book up, like I said, it's a really good book. It goes into much more in depth than I'm going to go into. Yeah. But because it actually even has like visualizations and like how to activate each chakra, reflections, affirmations. It goes through all of that. So some affirmations for the sacral chakra is, I am a divinely created being here to enjoy all that is divine in life. I know I deserve to experience pleasure and I take pleasure in all of life. My body is sacred and I cherish it. It is safe for me to express and enjoy my sexuality. I honor my feelings and am stable to move through them in a healthy way. I allow myself time to create and play just for the joy of it. I honor and enjoy my body. My sexuality is sacred. I feel pleasure every day. I am passionate about life. I am playful. I am joyful. I honor all of my emotions. Creativity flows through me. Joy flows through me. And abundance flows through me. So that's that. The first two I feel like are very they're all important. I don't know. I think they're just very grounding, obviously. That's what they are. But I feel like if you're off on those, like your whole foundation is off.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it not just that they are grounding and like you mentioned in the physical, but I think that when we think about foundations, when we talk about foundations and needing to have good foundations, people in general and things can survive when your foundation isn't solid, but it's usually not easy or positive or smooth. Right. There's lots of obstacles that come up. So you want to make sure that your foundation is, balanced and healthy.
Definitely. So the next one is the solar plexus chakra. This one is the last of the lower three. Mm-hmm. And it comes from the Sanskrit name for the solar plexus is Manipura, which means lustrous gem. And it is located in your mid-torso above your navel and mid-back. The element is fire. The physical body parts are abdominal organs, stomach, liver, gallbladder, spleen, and pancreas. So kind of that whole upper midsection there. And when it's aligned, you can have a strong sense of self, confidence in who we are and our goals, an ability to stay true to ourselves and be able to go with the flow.
Okay.
So the solar plexus is very much who you are. Mm-hmm. It's your self-esteem. If you have self-doubt, if you have a feeling of not fitting in, if you have trouble making decisions, you might want to think about the solar plexus. Mm-hmm. So, and when it's out of alignment, like I said, overactive, being egotistical and controlling and overbearing, mm-hmm. perfectionist and obsessive, and this will cause us to be drained and angry when things do not go as we plan. So, just not great. Yeah. Underactive is you struggle to be true to yourself, self-doubt, low self-esteem, mm-hmm. trouble with achieving goals, and leading to depression.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. That was the theme that was coming up while you were talking about all of those things. Those are all things that you see in somebody who is experiencing symptoms of depression.
I feel like I can understand more when something's underactive than mm-hmm. thinking about what overactive looks like. Mm-hmm. I guess. At least what I was seeing.
Are you referring to the solar plexus specifically or in general, all of them?
In general, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, just for whatever reason, I could picture that better, I guess. Mm-hmm. So physical ailments are bloating, digestive issues, nausea, indigestion, fatigue, difficulty concentrating, restlessness, agitation, gallstones, liver, and pancreatic disorders. So this one, with all of them, when you're trying to realign them, and if you feel that they've been out of alignment, mm-hmm. you will have a resurgence of the negative emotions and the negative physical ailments.
Okay.
Like they'll get worse.
Okay.
Before they get better.
Okay.
Because they're clearing. They're trying to get clear.
Yeah, I was going to say, is the idea behind that there's like a purge happening and so mm-hmm. everything's coming up.
Yep.
To be released.
Definitely. I went through this one. I definitely went through a purging of this solar plexus last April, mm-hmm. like January, February, March, April, mm-hmm. May. Like for several months there when I was really coming into the intuition.
Yeah.
Like I was really sick with all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't quite sure why, but I really think it had to do with this. Mm. Like I was really going through a whole change, mm-hmm. like a whole transformation. And I think that this was part of it. Mm-hmm. So.
That also, though, brings up the idea that you can very much be focusing on these things and trying to clear them and balance them, but you also cannot be knowing that something's going on unless you're experiencing imbalance. But even as your energy is trying to right itself, mm-hmm. as you're being more connected with spirit or your intuition or your practices or connections and relationships and things like that, mm-hmm. if you're developing healthier relationships or if you're seeking that consciously or subconsciously, your body may be doing some of this stuff on its own to try mm-hmm. and clear out some of the blockages that are happening.
Yeah, definitely. And I would encourage that if you do feel anything in these different physical ailments or these mental ailments, to really kind of hone in on which chakra is associated with that and maybe mm-hmm. really look at that and say, okay, what else is going on in my life? Like, is there something that would be blocking it? Is there, something like that? And then really hone in on those and do some of these like reflections and affirmations and meditations and stuff like that. So,
out of curiosity, if you are looking to have a more balanced solar plexus, let's say, just for example, would it make sense to, or would it be necessary to take a step back and make sure that your sacral chakra is also stable? Or is it okay to just go right into the solar plexus and try to align that?
You could either way. You could do either way. If you're like I said, for me, I was like, this was all really upper GI stuff I was going through and lower GI, but just a lot of this stuff. So you could go right into just one specifically. You could go into two. You could do like one day you're focusing on this one, another day you're focusing on this one. So yeah, I mean, with everything in your body and energy and spirituality, it's a whole body thing. It's a mind, body, spirit. So everything is connected. So I don't think anything happens in a bubble. But you can have one that needs more attention than the others. Yep. Okay. So the stones that are associated with that one are pyrite, citrine, yellow agate, and amber. All like bright yellow ones. And let's see. So there's also, I mean, we could get way into this, but there's like goddess archetypes that go with each one of these. There's foods you can eat. There's all kind of stuff that you could do. But pyrite is referred to fool's gold. And it's used in ancient times to create a spark and fire. So you can use pyrite to ignite a spark in yourself. And it has a masculine energy. And it's a stone of action, strength, and will. And then the citrine it enhances energy and stamina and represents abundance and manifestation. It can boost self-esteem and boost confidence. The yellow agate is known as a revitalizer, and it helps foster self-acceptance, boost self-esteem, and promote positivity. And then amber, and it helps clear the mind and eliminate fears that help align all the energies in the solar plexus. And then essential oils, the essential oils are all like really bright and like citrusy. So there's lemon, grapefruit, ginger, and peppermint. This one, I think a lot of people need to work on. Just like anytime you like doubt yourself or struggle with your true self.
Yeah.
So that's the last of the lower ones. We can do the heart chakra, which is the one that kind of binds the upper and the lower, connects the two. And it is the energy center for love and the ability to give and receive. It's also a center for connection. And it's considered the energetic bridge between the physical and the spiritual realms.
Okay.
The color is green, and the location is the center of the chest and shoulder blades. Its element is air, which I thought was interesting. The physical body parts are the heart, the lungs, the respiratory system, the thymus, and the upper back. There's also different symbols associated with each one of them, but like, unless you're looking at them, I can't really explain them. So you'd have to look that up. So that whenever you're doing meditations, you can meditate on the symbols as well.
Okay.
So when the heart chakra is aligned, you'll be able to feel love and give love and find good and positivity in others and self, and be able to feel connected to others and things. And when it is out of alignment, when it's blocked, will be closed off emotionally or numb, struggle giving and receiving love, can't forgive people, overly critical of self and others. And then when it's overactive, you're overly connected to people, codependency, not taking care of one's own emotions, lack of boundaries, fear of abandonment, jealousy, and possessiveness. And then the stones are rose quartz, emerald, chrysoprase, and that's said to heal depression, excess self-focus, and emotions and sexual imbalance. that one specifically. And then there's morganite as well, which is a pretty pink peach stone, which I thought was pretty. And then rose quartz is, I mean, I'm sure you've heard of that one. A lot of people use it for the heart chakra and like love and self-worth and stuff like that. So, and then the essential oils are rose, neroli, jasmine, and lavender.
Light florally.
So, do you feel like you're more attached to one chakra versus another?
Of the ones you just talked about?
Yeah. Like, have you...
Yeah.
Or in general. We could talk about any of them, but...
I think of the ones that you just talked about, I think that me personally, I am very connected to the root chakra. Not always in the most balanced way. But definitely I can resonate with that. A sense of wanting and or needing safety, but not necessarily in the physical sense, more of like an emotional need.
Yeah. I'm very connected to my crown chakra, but we'll talk about that a different time. Now that I know about these more, I'm able to know when they're out of alignment a little bit better. And when I'm feeling certain ways, I will meditate and try to connect to different things. I've been doing the root chakra a lot recently. I think because I was feeling ungrounded for a while there, kind of all over the place, not really like centered. So I did use that one a lot. So, but yeah, now do you think about them? Like, do you think about your chakras on a regular basis?
The time where it comes up the most for me is probably when I am trying to achieve some sort of goal and when I'm trying to meditate. Then I am very much thinking about it, but on a day-to-day basis, probably not so much. Like, I don't think about if I'm experiencing certain ailments, if that could mean a block. Usually it's like goal-oriented. If I have a conversation that I have to have, I'm thinking about, okay, can I get the courage to say what I need to say? Am I going to be able to advocate? Am I going to be able to present this information correctly? So I think about like the throat chakra. If I'm trying to meditate, I'm thinking about the third eye or the crown. If I'm, looking for a specific type of meditation, whether it's for love, then I'll think about the heart chakra or, whatever it might be. So in those senses, but not necessarily on a day-to-day.
Yeah, I think very much the same. I do very much the same thing. It's more kind of like in the moment type situation. I've definitely used them in the moment for needing something. And it's interesting that I can often see the colors when I'm meditating. So I can actually they change. I've talked about seeing colors when I meditate before.
Yeah.
And usually it's actually purple. But I've seen the green. It's a very specific green. It's not like a green that you would... The first time I saw it, I was like, wow, that is an interesting color green. It's not... I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost like a teal. It's a cross between like a teal and a shamrock color. It's a very specific green color. And then I've seen red. I haven't really... I mean, maybe not necessarily yellow or orange specifically. But yeah, it's interesting. But... Yeah. So here's an interesting question. Do you think we're born with perfectly balanced chakras, or do you think like experiences shape over time? Or both?
That is a really good question. Do you have an answer to that before I answer? Okay.
Nope. It's just a question.
Okay. I think it depends on the thought process or belief coming into it. So, from the perspective of we are in this life for a reason, to experience something, to learn something, to contribute something. From that perspective, I would think that we are coming into this world born maybe originally with balanced chakras, and then they will shift based on what our needs are as we grow. However, I could also see that it might be that we have some imbalances because of what we're bringing with us. What's our ancestral lineage? What's our, our mom's experiences? What is our epigenetics and those pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. As a divine being, I would imagine that they are very balanced initially, but I think that once we're born, they probably become unbalanced because of either what we're picking up as we come in or what we are needing to accomplish in this life.
Yeah, I think it comes down to your belief system as to a number of things, like are we bringing past traumas from from our past lives, from genetically, are we bringing stuff like that? Is it nature versus nurture? I think I agree with you, like as a divine being, like when we're hanging out wherever it is that we hang out before we're born, I think we probably are very balanced, but then, or maybe we're not because we haven't reached enlightenment, and that's why we have to keep coming back. So maybe we're not actually balanced when we become born because we still have things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a very interesting question, and I mean, I think 100% our life experiences too, like our physical, like actual, like right now, life experiences mess with all of this. In our 100%. But as far as being born, and I think also whenever you're developing, what's your mother's experience like? Is she stressed out? Is she having good pregnancy? Are her needs met? So, yeah.
Yeah, that I think has a huge role to play in it too, because we haven't talked much about this as far as like epigenetics or generational experiences or traumas that could be passed on or things like that. But I'm trying to think about the best way to put this so that it makes very clear sense. Me as a human, the egg that I came from was in my grandmother. So that's passing through several generations. And not in my grandmother, in my mom. Right? Because we are born, as women anyway, we're born with all the eggs we're ever going to have. Which means that in my grandmother's womb, my mother had the egg that was going to create me.
Wow. That was like that.
There's 3 generations of DNA, of experience, of history in that. So I do think that plays a huge role in, the lens that you're given when you're born.
Absolutely. So something to ponder.
Yeah.
So this was a lot. But I think understanding the first, first 3 that we went through?
Yeah.
First 4, whatever, is pretty powerful because it shapes our sense of security and expression. And then, talking about the beginning of the connection from the lower to the upper with the heart chakra. So next time we'll talk about the upper, which is the throat, the third eye, and the crown.
Yeah.
So those are big ones. I'm really connected to those 3, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one too, because I think for, at least in my own experience, spirituality is very much living in those chakras. And personally, I connect sometimes and disconnect others. And I do think that I'm very grounded in my root chakra. But in general, I hear often like, if you're more spiritual, then you're more connected to those. And so I'm interested to see, when you talk about it next time, what sorts of things come up or how you can identify if there's blockages or the things that you can be doing.
Yep.
So cool.
Definitely. And, if you felt connected to anything that we shared today, let us know. Like, are there chakras that you resonate with more? What practices are you doing? And I would invite you to, 1, pick up this book, The Chakras and Self-Care by Ambi Kavanaugh, and really pick a chakra and work on it.
Yeah.
Meditate, get some of these herbs, some of the stones, and let us know how it went. And if you have any questions for the next episode. So,
yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
All right. See ya.